Fethi Bey, let's give you the map you requested right away.
Okay.
So what did Cihat Hoca ask in return?
Let me put it this way.
I mean, is Russia's only statement that it will stop its attacks? What's going on here? What's the custom?
Yes.
Why do we call these talks negotiations?
Of course. Why did I want this? At the beginning of this war, there's a mistake we all sometimes make. The reason for the start of this war was Donetsk in Luhansk. That is the continuation of the war there. In this war, it first recognized the referendum there. Then it recognized its independence. What happened after independence? The war began. With the start of the war, after the process related to the war that reached right up to the front of Kyiv progressed, it advanced as far as Kherson and Zaporizhzhia. October 2022. In Kiev, if you remember, a decree was signed in the Kremlin, just like the decree of the same thing. There's no difference from Trump's decree. None. What did they say? These 4 regions, they said we annexed. Look, not just in Luhansk and Donetsk. That's how the trouble started. I mean, Luhansk and Donetsk fought because of it. But later, when annexing, they also included Zaporizhzhia and Kherson. I mean, today these 4 lands are considered Russian territory, according to Russia's own laws. This is Russian land.
Yes.
This is Russian land.
That's how they see it.
I'll tell you something interesting. Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhzhia, and Kherson. Well, let me tell you, which part is Kherson? I mean, is it the Kherson they currently occupy, or does it include the section where Kherson's borders are? Now, he says, I annexed Donetsk. I asked his friends. Do you see that thing? The place with different lines. I mean, you see this, right?
Yes.
Look, this is the area within Donetsk's territory. So the place they call Donetsk is actually larger. For example, the entirety of Luhansk is currently considered taken by Russia, but almost half of Donetsk has been taken. Nearly 2/3 of Zaporizhzhia has been taken as well. 2/3 of Kherson has also been taken. What will they do now? What will they say in this agreement? I made these 4 territories mine. Can they say, you should move further out? Because according to Russia, this is Russian land. Look, that is also Russian land. Do you know what it is according to Russia right now? We always talk, we always debate something. We say it entered Russia's Kursk region, don't we? Let me tell you, friends, the real place it entered is here. These areas are currently Russian territory. Look, this part has occupied a larger area. According to Russia, Ukraine is currently occupying Russian territories. Look at these regions. Look at these regions. Russian territory. So not just in the Kursk region. It hasn't entered Russian territory, right? We've always talked about this place, haven't we? Isn't it an overlooked detail?
Absolutely.
Look, according to its own annexation decision, Donetsk,
its own territories.
Luhansk, when you said, I am annexing Kherson, Zaporizhzhia, you probably mentioned something. You mentioned its
Quite
negative
troubling.
boundaries.
Yes.
Let's put it this way then. From here as well, will Ukraine withdraw from these areas?
But isn't it true, Mr. Mite, that Russia never fully captured Donetsk, Zaporizhzhia, or Kherson? Is this as far as they could advance?
They advanced further. Now they have advanced further. After this war, after the Martyrs' War, they retreated a bit. For instance, now slowly actually, Ukraine is losing ground in this area. Look, in this area, especially here. I mean,
we have another map that supports exactly what you are describing. Let's take a look at it. When we look at it, how does Russia consider Ukrainian lands as its own? Because sometimes we see such maps in Russian sources. Look, they've left Ukraine quite a bit. There's no Modese
now we're getting to the point.
Either.
I said, you'll cross over there, you'll move here, you'll move there. In these areas, in Zaporozhye, over there in Zaporozhye.
Yes.
Look, you're advancing quite a bit. In the current area, we're only talking about the story that's always told, that land was occupied in Kursk. But according to official Russian sources, quite a significant Russian territory is actually under occupation.
Yes, but isn't this the image they are trying to project to their own people? I mean, we have gains, but the situation on the ground is not like that.
The situation is not like that. This is such an ambiguous war that it's not even a war. I mean, Russia did not declare war on Ukraine. Russia said it was conducting a special operation in Ukraine.
Yes.
There is no declaration of war between Russia and Ukraine right now. I mean, in international law, is there such a thing? It was said to be a declaration of war, but there isn't. No one declared war. Nearly 500,000 people have died from both sides. There is no declaration of war, you know? These are signs that the world is currently falling apart. I mean, Trump is giving away other people's land to others with a decree. Russia says, I annexed that place by decree. Another says, I took that place. Yet another says, I took it. International law, or there is currently no world order where the United Nations or international law protects someone's rights and justice. Right now, there is only one order. If you are strong, you stand. If not, I swear, they have reached the point of taking you from your home. They have reached the point of taking you from your home among states. Just think, Denmark is a NATO country, another NATO country, a country that founded NATO. You will either give up your land or sell it, or take it, they say. This system, wasn't it made to protect each other against Russia, or to protect the then Soviet Socialist republics, or to protect against full blocs? That's why I'm saying everything that was described today, the picture that was said, remember, with or without Trump, all of this picture will happen, friends. The bad part is this sharing, if we go back to the previous map, this sharing.
Let's go back to the previous one.
What will you
then
do
we'll
if they decide to do it among themselves?
America and Russia?
America, Russia, and China. If they say, brother, there's no one stronger than us in the world right now at NASA, and my brother, I'm giving you Taiwan. Let the Taiwan issue be resolved between us in the meantime. To Russia, my brother, I'm giving you that thing too. I'm giving these places. There have been dozens of examples of this in the past. You too to Denmark. Don't open your mouth. Would he say that? He would. Is it possible? It is. The political history of the world, what I told you, with each other, with dozens of agreements that were bartered. Is Syria Russia's?
No.
Is Syria America's? Didn't they divide Syria into two, saying east of the Euphrates is mine, west of the Euphrates is mine?
That's exactly how they divided it. Well then, let me ask you here, Cihat Hokam. Unfortunately, it seems we are facing a new world order where the strong are right and do whatever they want without restraint. Our foreign minister, Hakan Fidan, refers to it as the law of the jungle. At this point, there is indeed an expectation. Will there be a conflict between the great powers, the United States and China? Or on the contrary, will nothing of the sort happen? Will it be a scenario where everyone gets what they want, as Meet Bay described?
Now, from the very beginning, we have mentioned this here a few times. We need to understand this very well. A world order was established after the Second World War. This order is the United Nations Security Council Permanent Members Order. The organization called the United Nations, the institution, is a system where these five do what they want and don't do what they don't want. Other members have no influence or contribution. These permanent members, along with the occasionally elected members, they are elected for 2 years and so on, have no influence whatsoever. There are 5 states with veto power. One of them, well, these are the United States, Russia, China, France, and the United Kingdom. China, once, how did it happen that has become a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council? It was at the invitation of America, wasn't it?
Removing Taiwan.
After the war. Of course, removing Taiwan. The United States is the one that said, I recognize China. I no longer recognize Taiwan. and brought China in.
Like bringing into the World Trade Organization.
It is also the one that brought into the World Trade Organization. Now here, after establishing such an order, while 5 states do whatever they want in the world, do they fight each other, do you think? Why would they fight? Why would they fight? Such an order has been established. Well, Cold War era, all of this is theater. Okay? This is a continuation of a system. In other words, how did the Cold War era begin? Do we know it all? Here is the Warsaw Pact, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, and NATO, right? How did it happen? Stalin and Roosevelt met at Yalta and Potsdam. Churchill pulled up a chair there, insisting that you are leaving England out. To the Potsdam and Yalta conferences, they opened the map on the table. Well, let there be no such war from now on. Let us protect our interests, keep it under control, and establish an order, they said. Let's establish the United Nations. 1, 2. Let's divide it into 2, the world. They divided Europe in half. It wasn't enough. They divided Germany in half at the table. It wasn't enough. They divided Berlin. Why? So that a state like Germany could never rise again, could never awaken. In the First World War, there was the Treaty of Versailles. Today, what is being imposed on Ukraine is this so-called peace, just as it imposed restrictions on Germany. An agreement similar to the Treaty of Versailles was attempted to be dictated to Ukraine.
I'll join you in a moment, Professor. Let me take one more sentence.
Thus, the Cold War was initiated at the table. And the end of the Cold War also came about through their own agreements. I ask now, the Soviet Union, wasn't the Soviet Union a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council? Well, it collapsed, it disbanded.
Yes.
How did Russia continue? Can Russia continue without an agreement at the table?
Impossible.
Why wasn't it Ukraine instead of Russia? Why wasn't it Azerbaijan instead of Russia? The continuation of the Soviet Union was one of the republics.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Now, many compare this upcoming period to the post-Yalta era.
All of these are boatmen.
Yes.
Fight. Look at how they sit down with Russia.
Let's continue talking after a short break.